Hello guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to sand and polish either your headlights or taillights. In this example I'm going to be using this really bad taillight on a 2001 Lexus IS 300. As you can see, it's already getting white. In the headlights it would be getting white and yellow. It's the same procedure for the headlight and taillight, and this works only on plastic headlights and taillights as far as I know. I have not tried it on glass. So the first thing you want to do is you want to grab your water. I always just use water. Spray it a couple times and wipe it down. Make sure you have all that dirt and grime off the piece that you're going to be sanding. Next, what you want to use, and as you've seen in my other videos, I always have them in a little container. You have to leave them in water for a minimum of 15 minutes. But again, if you leave them there permanently, they won't go bad. Is some wet sand paper. I'm going to start off by using 800 grit. And believe me, it's not that hard. It takes about 10-15 minutes at the most. So you wet the area. Make sure your wet sandpaper has been wet for about 15 minutes. This one has been in the container for about, I'd say, 2 months now. It does not go bad. And just start sanding in even lines. Don't go in circles. You see that white stuff coming off? That's sorry. That's all the oxidation that was on the plastic. You want to sand all that bad plastic away. So just keep sanding with the 800 grit. In this case, you can put pressure on the surface, and it is recommended you put sandpaper all around the panel you're gonna be sanding on. But if you already know what you're doing and you know how to avoid sanding your own paint, then that's not really necessary. Keep rinsing both the sandpaper and the piece that you're sanding to polish so that you can get rid of all that bad plastic. You see all this white stuff? You don't want to see that on your sandpaper at all. Okay. Then you wipe it down again. It's going to be very, very fogged up. Almost like a matte look to it. Then you go ahead and you grab your 1500. This is going to make that the scratches from the 800 grit sandpaper a little bit finer. And it's also going to shave off some of that bad plastic. Remember to keep rinsing your sandpaper and the piece you're sanding to get rid of all that bad plastic that's accumulating from you sanding. Okay. And again, go ahead and wipe it down. And then for the last step, you use 2000 grit. So again, you wet the surface thoroughly, grab your sandpaper. Now this is a tail light, so I'm not putting too much effort into sanding the area with the 2000 grit all thoroughly. You can if you want the much better finish, but being a tail light and being painted red anyways, you're not really gonna notice. Where you do want to pay attention is like the ones that are white and see-through. Those are the ones you really want to put a lot of effort into sanding with 2000 grit, so that you make it as smooth and as fine as possible, so that when you compound and polish it, you won't see any scratch marks at all. And the 2000 grit, its job is mainly to just make all the scratches very, very fine from the 800 and 1500 grit, so that it gets ready to polish. All right. Once the area is nice and dry like it is here, you go ahead and you feel it, make sure it's nice and smooth, and you grab your cutting pad. For me, such a small area like this, I use a 3-inch wool cutting pad. You just want to wet it twice with your water. You can use wax, spray wax, or anything you want, but I use water. I mean, it's already filled with compound, so that should be enough in most cases. Now, you cannot do this by hand. I assume you could, but it's going to take so much more effort. Just be like me. I bought this rotary tool or polisher at Harbor Freight for about $25, and it goes up to 3000 RPM. I'm going to wet it a third time. It does still feel a little dry. Or fourth time. Make sure you rub the water in there. And like my other videos, I am still using Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. I found this to be the best one for this type of job. As you can see, it's still fogged up. It's not completely see-through, but that should not be the case as soon as we're done with this. And for such a small surface, you really don't need that much. As you can see here, this is all I have. And all you want to do is just rub it in the area first. As you can see, it completely covered the surface. Set your polisher to the number 2 setting. Place it on the surface and just squeeze. Now you gotta make sure not to leave it on there for such a long time, because this will create a lot of friction and heat, and it could melt the part. So just keep it on there for a couple of seconds. Then you want to bump it up to speed number 3. it really does not take that much. So then you go ahead, you remove your cutting pad, you grab another microfiber towel, and you remove the excess. As you can see, I went ahead and compounded all this area, all this around here, just in case I hit it with the sandpaper. So you go ahead and wipe it off. And as you can see, it immediately looks much better. You can already see through the plastic lens, unlike before where it was completely fogged up. But we're not done yet. The next step is to go ahead and get another pad. I prefer using a regular foam pad. I got these from eBay for about, I'd say, $7 with free shipping. Gets it to your home in about a week and a half. The next step is Meguiar's Ultimate Polish. Again, you may try other brands, but for $2 extra you can get these, and I prefer to just make that investment and make sure that everything works well, as opposed to buying something that most likely won't do what I'm expecting. Okay, you go ahead and you put this much on it. Yes, I know my pad's all cut up, but since you're going to be pressing it against the surface, not too hard, just a little bit to compress all the pad, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so you see I covered up the area. I'm gonna leave the tool at the 3rd setting, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start. You remove your pad. Now these are 3-inch pads, so they work perfectly for headlights and stuff. For big panels and stuff, I have these 8-inch pads with their own backing plate. But again, you don't need anything bigger than 3 inches for anything that's related to your taillights or headlights. So after you go ahead and you run the tool all over the area, you wipe the excess off. As you can see, it's already much shinier and see-through, much better than it was before. Okay, so then the last step, again like my previous videos, the last step is applying a layer of wax all over the area to protect it from the sun. The wax that I use is this old school Meguiar's. I'm sure they have an ultimate wax now, but this one I've had for a few years and I still haven't run out of it. So you just go ahead and you apply a good amount onto your microfiber towel. For this, all I need is this amount, and then you just go ahead and you start wiping down the areas that you compounded and polished. You go ahead and you wipe them down. Make sure you get a nice even cover. And you just let it dry. Let it dry for approximately 15 to 20 minutes. And when you rub it off, like I'm doing up here, it shouldn't be all leaving smudges like it is right there, that means it's still not dry. So you just wait until when you rub it off, it comes off like crumbs, and then you know it's dry. So I'm gonna go ahead, leave it, let it dry, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright guys, so we've let it dry for approximately 15, maybe 18 minutes. Now what we're gonna go ahead and just wipe it down. Again, check that it's fully dry. When you're rubbing it and you don't get any smudges, you know that it's completely dry. So you go ahead, you grab a clean microfiber and you buff the area. The wax guarantees that it's going to be protected against the sunlight. Usually about a year. You know, just keep washing your car once a month at least. Now I'm going to go ahead and zoom you guys in so you can see the difference between this one, that's the left unit, and the other one, that's the right unit that I still have not sanded and compounded. And we're gonna go see the right unit. As you can see, it is completely flat, no shine, no depth, nothing. And the other one, you can go ahead and see through everything. Now let me go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when you sand a headlight and you don't sand the other. Now this is the beater car, this is the project car, so ignore its condition. This is a headlight before you sand, compound, and polish it. As you can see, it's getting this white mist. It's not dirt. I'm rubbing pretty hard on it. As you can see, it's very fogged up, yellow. And this is what it looks like after you sand, polish, compound, and everything. There's a huge, huge difference between the two. It usually takes about maybe 20 minutes per headlight, but it's not something overly hard. So again, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will keep uploading new videos for DIYs and simple fixes you can do at home for usually under $30.